Hello everyone, it's History Behind the Warrior, and as always, welcome back to yet another Mortal Kombat video, with another installment in my Lost and Forgotten series. I know, it's been a hot minute, right? With that said, in today's episode, from extreme and dare I say high demand, and seeing as we've been talking about a lot of the ninjas recently, it did only feel right to touch on a lost and cult beloved character within the community, Wule. Now if you're new to the MK mythos or even first introduced to the series through the reboot trilogy, there's a large likelihood you've never heard of this character, or only, at the very best, learnt of his existence through comments or suggestions with minimal knowledge. Thus, in today's History of installment, we will be doing a deep dive analysis and breakdown of Wule, understanding why he's dubbed by many in the fandom as the Orange Ninja of the series, his ties to the Lin Kuei, and of course, how could he re-emerge in the new era? What elements of his story and character could be pulled across here? But as always everyone, just a quick reminder that if you like what we do here and wish to see more, please don't forget to subscribe as well as give this video a thumbs up. I know it's a small thing, but it really goes a very long way here, especially as recently YouTube has been coming down on the channel pretty hard, so little support goes a very long way here. Anyway, let's delve right into things. Starting with where does Wule originate from? Well, Wu actually comes from Earthrealm, and since his debut in Armageddon, has been strictly confined to that of the original continuity. So his appearances in the canon have been very strict to say the least, as Armageddon has been his one and only canonical appearance. Now to really talk about Wule, we do have to touch on the Tangu clan, a clan of ninjas that derives from Arctica, and for a long while were the sworn rivals to that of the Lin Kuei. And canonically, it's completely unknown how far this feud does date back, or how it even relates to other factions like the Shirai Ryu, only that for the longest time, the Lin Kuei were at the Tengu's throats. Because of this, they did linger in the shadows, and did slowly but surely fade into obscurity, living in relative peace for a very long while. However, this would all change in the oncoming years, as their rivals, the Lin Kuei, would slowly but surely begin to crumble beneath the vision of their Grand Master, with the Cyber Initiative dividing them in two, with the clan later falling under the leadership of Kuai Liang, and the Grand Master's son Sector breaking off into his own faction, the Takunin. With the changing of the guard, Sub-Zero would have it so the Lin Kuei relocated to Arctica, creating a temple that kept him close to his cryomancy origin. But such a big movement on their part was seen as an act of aggression from the Tengu. Thus the feud would begin once more, until it's quickly quelled and simmered by Kuai Liang, where the Lin Kuei would stick to their territory, and the Tengu would remain in theirs. So where and how does Wule actually fit into this whole picture here? Well, Wule himself would be the leader of the Tengu clan, operating as their Grand Master and effectively serving the same role that Kuai did to the Lin Kuei. Unfortunately though, the biggest mystery surrounding Wu, as well as the Tengu, is how the mantle of leadership is passed down from person to person, because at no point is Wu even referred to as a Grand Master, and that's vastly due to the Tengu's very brief time in the series. Thus, it's more ambiguous and open to interpretation than anything else. Which now takes us up to his first appearance in Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Now Wule's and the Tengu's appearance during this installment would be incredibly brief, but one that most certainly made a mark on the franchise, as it would be their faction debut in the Conquest mode. In this story mode, we come to learn that all is not well with the Tengu clan, as a rift of sorts would be opened within their ranks, where a weaker subdivision of them would break away, now branded as Snow Ninja, under the belief that there could be some foul play at hand on the Lin Kuei's part. The Tengu would take a very confrontational stance against their rivals, crossing into their domain and hunting down these traitors. But as they surveyed this frozen tundra, Wule would catch word of two other unknown ninjas crossing into both of their territories. There was clearly far more at play than what he had understood. Believing that this noob and Smoke to be the perpetrators behind all of this, Wule and the Tengu would begin to hunt them down and break their deal with the Lin Kuei. However, in the midst of their hunt, they would unknowingly stumble across a recently awakened and dazed demigod, Taven. The young man was seeking out the ruins and relics left behind by his parents, so the Tengu, mistaking him as yet another adversary, would strike and initiate battle. But it was extremely foolish on their part to pick a fight with a demigod, as Taven is able to very swiftly defeat and kill them, with the clan's only survivor being Wule himself. and it's upon his loss where he gains a sense of clarity of the situation, pleading for his life at the god's hand and addressing his mistakes. Here, he reveals the shaky alliance he retains with the Lin Kuei, and does tell Taven that if he sought out answers, then by maybe reaching out to its Grand Master, he would actually get them. Now, it is worth mentioning that whilst Wule is spared in cutscene, you do actually have the opportunity to perform a fatality on him here, as narratively, he does reach the end of his rope. But canonically, it is believed that Wule did survive this encounter. However, with the Battle of Armageddon, and seeming end of this timeline and era, it's pretty safe to assume that he is one of the many that did perish during this cataclysmic event, even if he didn't participate in the Battle of Armageddon itself. But what about the reboot trilogy, I hear you say? Well, he does return, but not really in the way you'd think. Unfortunately for you die-hard Wule fans, whilst the character isn't featured in-game, he's voice referenced to by Quan Chi when he shouts out a spell. So you think getting your favourite character relegated to a cameo is bad? You don't know what true pain is. But of course now, it does bring up the question of, why is he known as the Orange Ninja? And if so, what exactly are his powers? And well, it's a lot more arbitrary than you'd think. You see, from a design perspective, whilst the name Tengu does derive from Japan, meaning heavenly dog, as his scaled armor does resemble feathers, and the Tengu themselves do rock a crow insignia on their tires. As for why they chose the color orange, your guess is kind of as good as mine. Truth be told is that Wule's visual design and clan's overall utilization of the color honestly has nothing to do with what they're synonymous with. Because you see, when you think of Scorpion, you think of yellow and fire. When you think of Sub-Zero, you think of blue and ice. But for Wule, there's nothing actually going on here. From the very little time we do get to spend with him, in terms of powers and abilities that do set him aside from the rest of the cast, he's actually pretty mundane, only utilizing a large scythe in combat, and that's kind of it. So in terms of supernatural abilities, Wule doesn't kind of have anything. So naturally now at the tail end of this video, it does raise the question of, how could he, as well as the Tengu, fit into that of the new era? Well, honestly, they could actually tackle this in a really fresh and interesting way. One that would benefit both Wule's character, as well as the Tengu. With the reveal and inclusion of Cyrax in the new era, it does so much in terms of world building for the Lin Kuei. As her bio does reveal that across the globe, the Lin Kuei does have a number of different smaller subdivisions, but does train up the next generation of fighters. Thus, naturally, you can probably tell what I'm suggesting here, but in my mind, it would make complete sense for the Tengu to be a subdivision of the Lin Kuei, located in Eastern Asia where there's snow, possibly creating a new Arctica of sorts. And if you want to frame them as the bad guys, being loyal to that of the Lin Kuei, you could have him feud with Kuai Liang and his new Shirai Ryu. Or if you want to make them good guys, you could have the Tengu break away and defect from the Lin Kuei, having seen what Bi-Han has become as Noob Saibot. There's a lot of ways to paint and spin this, but my main focus and hope is that someday something can be done with Wule here. Because whilst he has little to no character, he does have an absolutely phenomenal design. Plus, currently, I don't believe we have anyone in the MK mythos that does carry around a massive scythe. It'd be a really good window of opportunity to reintroduce him in this new era. Especially with Floyd serving as a really good example that fans want to see more new ninjas in the franchise. So with that said and everything covered here, what are your thoughts on Wule as well as the Tengu clan? How would you like to see them return in the new era? But most importantly, what powers and abilities would you love to see them have? Please do comment down below as I'd love to hear your suggestions. For now though everyone, that's been it for me. So as always, stay strong, stay well, and I'll catch you in the next one.